Alright, what is poppin', everybody? Welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be talking about a couple things that I feel like everyone should know. I was going to try to make a list of 5 or 10, but I don't like making lists. That's just me, because maybe I'll think of one extra that I want to talk about, or maybe I won't think as many as I said I was going to think of. So we're just going to wing it, how I usually wing everything. I just channel. I don't really put too much thinking into things. I just kind of let it come to me and I speak. I'm listening just how you guys are listening. I'm just observing my thoughts and they're coming out as I'm talking them. Does that make sense? I'm just channeling them. So whether you're 25 or you're 15, doesn't really matter how old you are. I feel like everyone needs to understand the value of their time. And this is something I wish I would have known when I was younger, was that your time is so temporary and it's so limited. Like, think back to a moment in time where you were just so happy to be in that moment. Like, it was just a very beautiful, peaceful moment and you wish it could have lasted forever. And then before you knew it, you woke up the next day and then that moment was gone. Like, think about how temporary that moment felt, but when you're in the moment, it feels like it's forever, but it's just so temporary. So like, that goes with all of high school, college, like, especially if you're young. This is something that you really cannot fully understand until the time's gone. So if you're listening to these words, seriously, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of how you perceive the situation that you're going through, be appreciative for what you're going through, because one day, no matter what environment you're in, you're going to miss it for some fucking reason. Just trust me on that. You will miss this moment you are in right now someday. So don't take it for granted and always be appreciative of who you're surrounded with. Whether they be a good influence or a bad influence, everyone can teach you something. So always be open to learning from people. So first one, obviously, as I just stated, is knowing the value of your time. And then the second one being leading with pure intentions. Once you just like lead with love and you don't do things like that are sketchy and you would have to hide from people, and you just are here to help people. You're here to lead love and spread love everywhere you go, and you don't expect anything from anybody else. You're just here to simply lead with love, and you don't expect anything from anyone. You'll get so much happier because you're not expecting things, and when you expect things, that's when you get sad, because oftentimes things don't meet your expectations, so you get upset because you had such high anticipations or high expectations for how this event or person was going to act, treat you, whatever. So when you just lead with love and you know that you're going to show up and be the best version of yourself, spread love, try to make other people feel good and not expect anything in return, you'll ultimately get it in return. And I know, but you can't expect to get it in return. That's how you actually get it in return, because the way the universe works is that what you put out will always make its way back in some way, shape, or form. So just lead with love, pure intentions. Don't do no sketchy shit. Just love people, and they'll love you back. What do we got? I hope you guys like that my videos are just uncut and like completely raw, because it's genuine, and I don't want to waste any of your time, so I just get right to the point. I don't dilly-dally, but I'm kind of dilly-dallying right now. So the third one being limit your social media usage, and like, especially when you're with people. And I know this sounds fucking corny, but it takes you out of the moment like nothing else can. Like, it literally instantly pulls you out of the moment. Instantly. It's the only thing. Like, when you're with someone and you're on your phone, oftentimes they'll try to say something to you and you won't even fucking hear them because you're on your phone. Or you'll try to say something to them and they're on your phone and they don't even hear you. You're like, damn, come on, bro. Also, be super, super intentional about what you consume on social media, because a lot of the things that are on social media are either just propaganda. Like, the mainstream media is just to instill fear into people, and that's something that everyone really needs to know, is that you really should not trust the mainstream media like CNN, Fox News, because they're all ran by these ginormous companies that just want a widespread message. So the news companies are just puppets for the higher up people that want to have control of the emotional state of the world. So if you like really realize, like a lot of boomers and like people like my parents' age just watch the news for their only source of information, and they take whatever the news says is fact. And this especially goes with COVID. Like, there's a lot of misinformation being spread by the news. So just don't take the news or social media as fact. Like, always take everything with a grain of salt and perceive things in your own way. Think for yourself. So ultimately, that whole thing I just said. So be intentional with your social media use and think for yourself. Like, really think for yourself. Don't let, like, no matter how much someone intimidates you into thinking one way, do not, just because they think that way, think that, oh yeah, that's the right way to think. Always keep some sense of individuality when it comes to thinking about some things. Like me being like pescatarian, not eating red meat. I have a bunch of friends that always try to push red meat onto me, and they'll try to like say that, dude, what you're learning is just vegan propaganda. And I'm like, all right, bro. Like I respect your perspective, and I hope you respect my perspective, because like I think the way I do. It's cool that you think the way you do. We haven't been exposed to the same information, and that's cool. Like, I'm not upset about that. Another one would be, don't settle in a relationship. Like, if someone leaves you with any uncertainty or insecurity, anxiety, but they have a pretty face, recognize that, because you can do better. Like, you will find someone out there that will treat you fucking phenomenally and not cause you to feel any of these things. But a lot of times you're gonna have to wait till both parties are mature, because that, like, youthful relationships tend to be very toxic because the other person doesn't know who they truly are and their values. So that's why people lead to cheating, because they get into these commitments without understanding who they are and understanding that they're playing with someone else's emotions, like a whole other human being's feelings, trust, and consciousness. So be very picky about who you get into a relationship with, because those can do some damage if you're not careful. So be picky, be selective, but also you'll learn a lot from not being selective, I've heard. You learn a lot from everybody. The more you get to know someone, the more you know, or the more you learn about them. So don't be afraid to get to know people, but always kind of have that sense of detachment where, like, you understand that if they hurt you, you're not going to be completely fucking down in the dumps, because everyone is temporary. You can't be attached, but also be vulnerable. And, like, if you want to fall in love, you're going to have to be the first one to give it most of the time. So don't be afraid to open up and tell people how you feel. What else is there? The importance of fucking having fun, man. Like, you need to have fun. Like, don't stress all the time. There's no point in stressing at all, because a lot of times the things we're stressing about are things we can't control. So why would you stress about something that you can't control? I'll just never understand that. Like, traffic, you can't fucking control traffic, bro. Like, so many events you just can't control. Like, a majority of events you can't control. You're just going to have to adapt to, and, like, say, okay, well, I'm just going to have to adapt to this because I can't really control this. So, like, a grocery bag breaking. Like, that just happened to me on the way up from Whole Foods, and, like, I was like, well, that's really fucking unfortunate, but I can't really fix the bag, so I'm just going to have to hold it I just had to adapt to the situation. So don't stress. Stress is so fucking irrelevant. Like, think about all the things you used to stress heavy about, like a year or two ago, and, like, realize how fucking insignificant they are now. Right? Like, what you're stressing about right now is going to be super insignificant in a couple months, so don't stress. What else is there? I know there's definitely one more thing that everyone needs to know. Maybe research what alcohol does to your body, because if everyone around you are going to be drinking it and you're going to be drinking it, know what it does to you at least. Be intentional with everything that you put into your body, because you only have one body. We have the, like, capability of living probably like 100 years at this point, because the science that's now out, and, like, the vegan diet, the pescatarian diet, and just putting non-shitty foods into your body. I'm not saying meat is shitty, just do your own research with it, because there's a lot that goes into it, and there's going to be both sides of the story, because there's always meat industry propaganda and vegan propaganda. So do your own research and figure out what you believe. But that's honestly about it. We're about to the 10-minute mark, and I like to keep my videos under 10 minutes because I know people don't have that much of an attention span. But I love you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any video suggestions in the comments below, and I'd be happy to supply the demand. Thank you guys for being here. I love you.